After the death of the prophet Idris, people on earth began to deviate from the path of monotheism, and corruption started to increase among them. Although monotheism continued for 1,000 years after the death of the prophet Adam, immorality and wickedness gradually seeped into the hearts of the people. During this era, there were righteous men known for their good deeds, such as Wad, Suah, Ya'uk, and Nasr. These men lived among the people of Noah, admired for their piety and sincerity in their calls for righteousness. With their death, Satan whispered to their people to erect statues in their seating places as a way to remember them. Initially, these idols were not worshipped, but over time, people began to venerate them. Then a generation came that knew nothing about these pure men, and gradually the worship of idols and polytheism spread among humankind at an accelerating rate, until polytheism became the norm, and the signs of monotheism completely faded away. In this dark era, God chose Noah to be his prophet and messenger. Noah was born into a righteous environment, growing up among a people who worshipped God and believed in monotheism. It is said that Noah's father was also among the righteous. Noah was described as having a great physique, good character, long black hair, and a beard that covered his face. He was endowed with patience and wisdom, making him a role model for his people. He lived for a period in repentance and prayer, observing his people's deviation from the straight path, which prompted him to attempt to correct their course. Noah lived for more than 1,000 years and was referred to as the first messenger to call his people to monotheism. After God sent Noah, he began his mission to call his people to worship the one God and abandon the idols. His message was characterized by immense patience and repetition as he continued to call his people for 950 years. He preached to them day and night, inside their homes and outside, but despite the passage of time, there was only a minimal response, with only a few believers. Noah spoke to his people in a gentle and moving manner, which touched the hearts of some, but the majority refused to change. He warned them about the consequences of disbelief, polytheism, and corruption. He endured their mockery and ridicule, remaining steadfast in his message. However, he faced significant challenges, as his people persistently refused his call and insulted him with curses and sarcasm. Among them was a disbelieving king who incited them against Noah, yet Noah persevered amid all the lies and insults, defending his courageous mission. One of his sons, named Canaan, took the side of the disbelievers and rejected his father's invitation, which increased Noah's sorrow. Canaan represented a figure of betrayal, being a prophet's son, but not following his path. He mocked Noah's call and chose to associate with corrupt friends who encouraged his disbelief, whereas he should have listened to his wise and righteous father. Each time Noah praised faith, Canaan would scoff and declare his allegiance to the traditions of the corrupt people. As time passed and disbelief increased among his people, the divine command came to Noah to build the ark. Noah worked diligently and began constructing the ark that would serve as a protection for himself and the believers with him. This ark was a massive structure built of wood, following divine instructions. It was designed with 3 decks, with designated spaces for animals of every kind and provisions for their journey to safety. When Noah started building the ark, his people ridiculed him, asking, "Why are you building a ship in a dry place?" Noah replied that he was fulfilling God's commandments, and he warned them of the consequences of their disbelief, reminding them of the dire punishment that would come. Despite the ridicule he faced, he continued his dedicated calling while working on the ark. As days went by, the ark was completed in remarkable fashion. When the divine order came for the believers to board, Noah opened the door and began gathering the believers and his sons. He had 3 believing sons, Sam, Ham, and Japheth, while Canaan had chosen the path of disbelief. The divine command instructed the gathering of all aboard the ark, and when Noah's people learned of its presence, they remained obstinate in their disbelief and mocked it shamelessly. Then came the moment that changed everything. When signs of God's wrath appeared, the skies opened, and heavy rain began to fall. The earth erupted with water, rivers burst forth, and the waters overwhelmed everything. The rivers that once flowed healthy became threats to everyone's lives, and the flood struck the area mercilessly. Meanwhile, the skies poured rain heavily, and the waters began to rise dramatically. During those trying moments, Noah heard Canaan's cries from the ark, but his attempts for help were in vain. Canaan called out to his father, saying, "O my father, I am calling for help." However, Noah, pained by his son's actions, could not save him, as Canaan had chosen the path of disbelievers and continued to follow them, ignoring his father's warnings. The rain continued for a long time, until it covered the mountains, and the world became an immense sea, with the ark floating amid the raging waves. Days passed until the stillness finally settled, and the ark came to rest on Mount Judy. With deep reflection, Noah exited the ark to begin his life anew with his sons, marking the second beginning of humanity after the flood. Noah and his believing sons became symbols of faith and monotheism. As his sons spread into various peoples and tribes, Sam became the father of the Arabs, Greeks, and Persians. Ham became the father of African peoples, and Japheth became the father of European peoples. Noah continued to call upon God after the flood, despite the destruction of many of his people. He felt a strong sense of responsibility to instill the principles of faith and monotheism in his children and grandchildren, educating them on the importance of the knowledge of God that they had missed. His experience was filled with lessons and wisdom, and he became a symbol for all who face trials in their communities. Noah passed away at the age of nearly 1,000 years, leaving behind a significant legacy of faith and monotheism. His story continues to be studied by generations as a lesson in patience and steadfastness in the face of challenges. This narrative remains a beacon for future generations, embodying noble values and ethics that strengthen faith and trust in God.